Gachiakuta versus Darling in the Franxx. Now, there's one thing that separates these two animes from being an obvious comparison. Not just because one played off the other. It's one word called garbage. Gachiakuta is a garbage anime no matter which way you want to break it. The truth behind Darling is that heroes always clean. You can argue that Gachiakuta actually is the anime of action. Physical action with hand-to-hand combat outside Gundams. Because there's still action in the first episode of Darling in the Franxx if you watch both episodes. There's also further down the line with Gachiakuta, there comes a Jabberwocky. What stops this from being an obvious comparison? Okay, so one thing you have to recognize is that Gachiakuta is paying Darling in the Franxx homage. Rudo still doesn't have shit on Hero, and something made me eat my words for this video. What I saw was, a random tall building of garbage cans. I was there, towered right under the Crunchyroll symbol. This is the first episode. I watched the first episode of both animes before I made this comparison. One thing you have to understand about the first one, Darling in the Franxx, is that 02 is a legendary anime character that you basically can't beat. He's the best of all herring, anime characters, and plus he looks like a devil. Now, Rudo, the main character at Gachiakuta, a few transformation has a fight with Jabberwocky. It is very eye-catching. They even have a reference to Demon Slayer in there, literally, to catch Darling off guard. But, as you further watch down the line, Gachiakuta has something weird that blows itself up. Not entirely, and there's also a couple more characters that are black that are actually in Gachiakuta. When it comes to Darling, there's actually characters who look like Jeremy, from Code Lyoko. Metaphorically speaking, British people, and I'm talking about, to sum up this video really fast, somebody playing basketball. Somebody playing basketball on Darling in the Franxx, and there is Gundam, and there is a little bit of action, but there's a Gundam in the first episode of Gachia as well. Overall, the point of this video is that Gachiakuta literally has things that block your mind, literally that enclose your statement. Spaces, but when it comes to actually watching it blows itself up because Darling in the Franxx is about a love story between Hero and 02. And guess what, literally, there's a white bunny in the beginning of Gachiakuta. Rudo actually gets rejected. The funny interesting fact is that there's 25 episodes of both. Darling is a classic, you need to remember that. Definitely in the Anime Hall of Fame, but this one that came out this year really had an eye-catcher where it came to everything, and it has graffiti, it has hip-hop and graffiti, but guess who's playing basketball? Darling in the Franxx, and 02 is playing b-ball herself. And Hero is a repetitive, trend when it comes to Gundam. The openings are almost tied. 02 takes place in the military, and Gachiakuta takes place literally in an atomic wasteland. There's Shin a Plunger, it's literally Shin a Plunger. Gachiakuta, it's a little bit more explicit than Darling. There's not action all the time. When I watched both episodes, I was almost gonna give it to Gachia, but then it blew itself up, over time. Not due to the artwork, but how the artwork was being displayed. This is actual fact. I know that it looks like, clear landside for the video, but one does something and the other one blocks your mind. It's the truth behind doing something, pretty versus doing something ugly. Gachia is also, imitating one of the big animes that came out, 2008 or 7, which is Soul Eater, when the main character Rudo looks just like Soul. Darling, however, took the Gundam trope literally and created a character that's completely original like Marilyn Monroe that everybody wanted to imitate. It's very hard because, even though one plays out the other, Gachiakuta has most of the things to block your statement. Overall, when it comes to Monument, when it comes to spoiled kids, 02 and Darling in the Franxx is one of the most legendary of all time. So it's either, 02 betraying Hero saying, "You call me father." This is Gachiakuta's, upbeat, literally accent, and it also has a lot of graffiti. It's an anime that represents hip-hop a lot with graffiti. There's a psycho girl, but there's nobody more psycho than Zero. Lily, there's also, Kokono, Lily. That guy, Darling in the Franxx, is really cool. And, Rudo has some cool subordinates. The blonde one, the one that looks at the Afghan guy at work. It's also called the Project Kid, all throughout the show. I'm going to be completely honest with this video. In order to break down, I have to say that Gachiakuta, where it comes to, art that blocks your mind is the best. It's slow, like, Jay Dilla, Soul Child and Adult Swim. But Darling in the Franxx is more classic. You truly have to, decide when it comes to video because, Gachiakuta has transformations. So does 02, but you need to understand. That's one's defeating a purpose in order to specifically reference, the other. Don't act like, Gachia didn't rip off Darling. The thing that it has that does it, is the element of surprise. Darling, like Rocky Balboa, is a story that's impactful over time. Therefore, I have to say, straightforward first thing, it's obviously Gachia, but, you have to be smart, really, and, understand that in both animes, 02 takes the cake, and that's why Rudo actually, really got rejected in the first episode. And here's how it goes. Literally, Darling and Franxx starts off as hero, zero meeting each other, with a fish in her mouth. Rudo is trying to get a doll, to a girl. Literally, it gets destroyed by a mob, an angry mob. Eye catcher is subjective for this video, so I have to say where it comes, being explosive, Gotcha has better word. Comes to overall play out. Darling is, barely being it. Today I have to, give the animation and creativity and idea to Darling.